Welcome back to another episode of That's Business. Today's guest, Todd Burger, is the Chief Automotive Officer of the American Automobile Association, or better known as AAA Mountain West Group. He brings more than 30 years of extensive AAA leadership and has served AAA members in a variety of roles. Currently, Todd is responsible for the auto repair, road service, and corporate security divisions. Throughout his career, he has successfully implemented cost-saving and efficiency-raising practices in call centers, auto repair, and road services. Todd began his career in the Army, serving 8 years. In 1996, he joined AAA as a manager in the Automotive Department, where he quickly became the department's vice president. Todd holds an MBA from St. Mary's College and a BA from Montana State University, Bozeman. He resides in Northern California, but keeps close ties to his family in Montana. Todd, I feel like this is so overview for you to be on this podcast. So we have a ton of to dive into today, but how are we feeling?
Oh, I'm doing great and kind of excited to share some ideas and thoughts. I've been excited to talk to you again because I know you're out slogging it out of the world for everybody.
Slogging it out of the world. I'm going to put that on my website. Thank you so much. So I'm guessing, did we grow up and say we wanted to be a chief automotive officer, or what did we want to be when we grew up?
I wanted to grow up and help people write their resumes.
Oh, yeah?
No. It's funny, blunt. I always wanted to be a pilot. So that was growing up. Aside from there, I love anything that with motors, gearhead. So it does kind of match, but those are my two, what are you going to do when you grow up? And actually pretty close to what I thought.
Okay. So when did we decide? Because if I remember correctly, you have a few veterans in your family. So was that assumed you were going into the military, or when did that conversation kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, I think it must be fourth generation military. So, well, never requested, always inferred. And it was, you're going to serve, but you choose the branch and you choose what you want to do, which is really cool family. So my grandfather, my dad, you love it, my sister and myself are all veterans. So we're kind of proud of my little sis who, God, I think she's a light colonel trying to get a promotion now. She's a nurse. Done a lot of overseas stuff, really cool. So, and then goes all the way back to my grandfather. And I think even before then, my great-grandfather, Civil War stuff. So deep, we're proud of it, and kind of a family connection we still have.
Jeez, that is a multi-generational, really runs in the family there. Jeez. So we get out of the Army, and then how did we fall into this beautiful tenure that you've had with AAA?
So I go back to Montana after the military, working and talking to a friend of mine, says, hey, I know you're on the ranch, and if you got a little bit of time, I could use some help around automotive and AAA logistics. And I said, absolutely. So I show up in Helena, Montana to help my friend just get some stuff in order. Go a few years and then realize it's a federated structure all across the country. And just like the military, you do good things. So you're serving people. You have a positive influence. There's a safety element, and they're looking for gearheads. So here I'm a guy with a degree, a little bit of strategy, but I really like the car side. So it was an actual mix. Worked for the national office and just kind of kept moving up through the divisions. And here I am 30 years later, helping people out with tow trucks and fixing cars, but now at a strategy technology level. But at the end of the day, most of my time is leading, making sure people are mentored and moving at people ahead to serve members. It's simple and complicated at the same time.
You always make everything seem like it's no big deal. Anyone could do this, but
no big deal. Anybody could do it. Time and training, anybody could do that. And I'm learning the younger people could do it better than me. Just got to get them there.
Something I really love about you is that you always have an open mind. And I know you're not one to toot your own horn, so I will do that for you. But you've had great tenure on the teams or the people that have served underneath you and helped you out. So have you always been this person that's kind of open to opportunities, or just like, yeah, we'll figure it out? Or how did that kind of come to play?
Yeah, always directional. I have no precise bone in my body. I just go. The good news of that, I run into stuff. Things click for me. I'm like, oh, that would work with that. And I start to put things together. So I have to build a team that's a very precise financial, technology, project management. The reverse of that, we start to learn from each other. And then I've developed teams over the years that it's kind of a network, neural network connections of people that believe in serving like I do, want to help the general public, but also want to have some fun. And because of that, the people I select, self-select on my teams, we go a long time. My average tenure is 20 plus years with my group. So it's just kind of this natural for you. You have a purpose and it serves well. You're going to get people that believe and follow you in the same principles and values, and you stay together. Very cool. And a lot of that's AAA. A little bit of that's Todd.
I like that. When you're finding people to fit on this team, because that is something, I don't want to say scary, but wow, people are on your team for average of 20 years. I mean, what do you kind of look for either in an interview or in a person when you're deciding, hey, you're going to be a good fit for my team or you're not? What are some of those qualifications?
Let's do hiring first. I have a very simple formula that does not meet any HR criteria.
Nice.
Hunger, weight, and speed. Are they hungry? Do they actually want to do it? Because I'm not looking for somebody that's going to sit where by the rules for that. Weight. Can they instantly come in and whether personally, professionally, whatever it is, can they bring weight? And then speed. There's a lot of jobs out there that are stable. I don't like that. I'm looking for somebody who moves fast, get stuff done. GSD would be the word. So hunger, weight, and speed is my criteria when I'm talking to somebody. Then I also look back and are they values-based, right? Do they just have good principles? Are they going to be ethical? All those things that are important. So that's kind of a combination of those. So simple, pretty easy. The other test I use for manager, sometimes VP, tell me about your team. And I want to know your team. Do you know their kids' names?
That's a great one.
So I just kind of balance. I go to the personal, then I look. And the people that I deal with and the people deal with me are incredibly stable. And I don't mean that mentally, because I'm not, nor do I mean, like long term. It's the person, they know who they are, they know what they do, and they know what they bring. So that stability just kind of resonates through, which again is a little bit AAA, a little bit me. You just kind of get that same feeling. So it allows me to select actually pretty easy, and we know when we fit.
It's almost like a confidence too. It's stability, confidence of what you bring to the table. You're not questioning it. Because if you're questioning it yourself, why would I want to hire you and bring you in for some huge, huge projects that I know you work on? So
I don't know if you see it, but the way the world's changing, definitely the technology, the AI. So somebody's got to be comfortable with it. At the same time, I look for somebody who says, look, like you said, Angela, I know where I fit. So I fit, I have these certain skills that are complementary. I can talk about that later, but I don't need flash in the pan. I need somebody that is very aware and very understanding of that ecosystem and where their place in is. That's incredibly important to me.
And I think something you've really mastered, going back to the question you ask of what are your team members and their kids' names, is because we always see the buzzword of we're like a family and all that on job descriptions, but I feel you've really mastered that without saying it. And I know we've joked about this before of like, well, what if your family's toxic? What if you don't like your family? So it's not always a great thing to say. But that culture is so huge because even with the people, obviously, that I work with, big thing is they leave terrible managers of, I love my coworkers. I don't like my boss. I don't like this and that. So it's great that every time I talk to you, I feel like you have a promotion or you're doing something great, new and innovative. So
yeah, and it's all luck. I mean, you just, again, you're stable, you're looking at stuff, there's always opportunities. I don't jump around, other people do, so I learn. I made a decision long ago to stay kind of in a vertical, a little bit automotive, customer service, and then things in and out of there. And I think my team's the same way. Other people make other choices where they want to explore. I see the new trend is, get your salary by moving companies and being a new hire. I just disagree with that. It works for other people. Doesn't work for me or how I view the business. I may change who I work for, a division or company, but as far as what I do, essentially the same. And my network, it's one of my folks that works with me. He's probably one of the leading experts in auto repair. He's been doing his whole career, probably 5 different companies. There's nothing he doesn't know about how to run the business. Then he leaves that and it's all about his people. So it allows you to be an expert, but focus on what's important, which now is people. I don't actually do anything anymore. I just talk and lead to people. So it's that different. But you have to have enough expertise that you bring weight and expertise to the conversation. Said bluntly, probably inappropriately, you don't want to get bullshitted either.
Right.
Every time you have somebody coming in and they're going to pitch AI, great. Don't do it for tech's sake. How does it increase service, efficiency? You got to have an expertise to do both. That comes with time.
Well, and you can't just throw buzzwords out there. You have to, like you said, know how they work and how would this make sense in our sector of the business. And I absolutely agree. As a career coach, yeah, you can leave and make more money, but I almost feel like some people retract back in skill set because you're not staying somewhere where you're learning more, or for you, moving divisions or taking on more responsibilities. And, oh, maybe I touched this 10 years ago, but now with the new integration of AI, and gosh, you need to write a book one day of just the changes you've seen from 96 to now almost 30 years later. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. But same principles hold true. Serve people, know where your product fits, do the right thing. But yeah. And I think you said it like some people jump. There's a what and where. I see people move on the what. Hey, I want to be an accountant, or I want to be a financial, or I want to be an investment banker. Other people are where are going to have the same job, but where I do that company and geography is different. I've always been, hey, I'm geography agnostic. Wherever you need me, I'm going to go. Just because we don't mind traveling. My wife is supportive and we're fluid anyway. The kids and I would just go. But I've always done the same what. I've always been an automotive service expert. So I think you have to decide between those two. Doing both is hard. Hey, I'm going to do something different. I don't care where it is. That's hard to mesh up and have a vision. So I do balance. But when I had good, smart people ask me, I said, what do you want to do? Where do you want to do it? Make those decisions where you're flexible, and then we can figure out where you fit.
Now, I want to go back to you saying you're a gearhead, because don't you have an impressive automotive collection, if I remember correctly?
Jay Leno says no, but yeah, I think
he doesn't count.
We're adding vehicles all the time, and yes, I have some fun stuff. So we have, if I do it order years, I have the 53 CJ3 Willys, love the Willys, 72 Blazer, and then I have a 2023 Bronco. So I've kind of staggered them out. What's next? I'm on front list for the new EV International Scout. So hopefully we get that early in 2027. I will complete my 4-wheel drive collection from every brand. And then I don't know what I'm going to do from there. So in my job as AAA, I see stuff, I get early access. So I'm constantly trying new vehicles and things. So it's always fun. Enjoy the hell out of it.
When did we start this collection?
Oh God, probably as a teenager. So bought and sold cars and teenager. So my whole career I'm looking. My wife, who's wonderful, very supportive. The only rule now, if I buy something, something has to go. So right now I'm looking to work with somebody to hide another car. So,
anyone has anyone.
Yeah, it's got to make sure she doesn't know, or it's in the barn, and we'll work it out. So, or the new rule, I let one of the kids, that's not for me. That's for one of the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's working for a while. We'll see how far I can stretch it.
Sweet. Now you go back and forth between California and Montana. How has that been with all the craziness that you have? You have your collection, you have the family business, you have a lot of different roles you play. How do you kind of balance the two? And hey, we're going to go to Montana, we're going to go back. And
yeah, we don't balance. So I think that's a misconception of, work-life balance. There is no balance. You have to make a decision. So what we've done as a family is it's always a business meeting, but we still find time to do other things, but it's constant going. So you learn to travel, you learn to be flexible, work from anywhere. And unlike conventional wisdom, lack of a better word, there's no, 8 to 5 type stuff. So I think growing up in the agriculture community and then military, it all blurs together. It's up to you individual to balance it out, which may be contradictory to many people listening to your podcast. There's no balance. It's 24/7. Take care of yourself and your family and learn to blend it. But my kids grew up in a business environment, so they know where we're at, P&L stuff. They understand AAA. You just never know when you're going to call, go forward. 2, we make it a point every other year. We take a 2-week trip anywhere in the world we want to go. We always make sure holidays are off and road trips, right? Phone works anywhere. So take a long weekend and make a big road trip and have fun. But balance, not division. 2 different ways to look at it.
That's great because, if you do want the work-life balance, and when I remember when I started this business, it was like, oh, must be nice to go travel and must be nice to do that or not work in the middle of the day. And it's like, well, yeah, but you didn't see I was up till 1 a.m. to make sure I could take the whole day off. And I think that is a common misconception. And especially you do want to grow your career. You want to be in executive leadership. that whole work-life balance. And I'm a big hater of that term. I don't think it's a linear, this is work-life balance and this is what works for you, maybe for you personally, but everyone's is different. I mean, yeah, I'm not a 9 to 5. I don't like to take meetings before 10 a.m., but I'll work till 10 p.m.
And I'm early, they'll let me off, but I do. And I think it's intention. My executive coach, Greg Giuliano, it's, do 5 year and do intention. So what experiences do you want to do over the next 5-10 years is much different than, hey, I want to be off by 5 o'clock. So I want to travel, networking, which again, I view as just building a group of friends. That's important to me. So I'm more interested in getting out there, doing big things, having fun than I'm worried about getting off at 5 every night and having a weekend that's clear. So my wife and I will say, hey, there's a business meeting somewhere. It starts Monday. Let's go Friday and have dinner with some of the people going to the meeting. Let's do that. So we've leaned into that, which is different than trying to set solid boundaries. Not for everybody, but that's been our intention. So again, you have to decide what you want and go after it.
Right. No, that's how actually we've done a lot of trips of, I have this conference starts Monday. Why don't we go a few days early? And it's feed two birds, one seed. We get a little bit of vacation, get to see friends in the area, and then get what we need out of the conference. So
yeah,
it's the best way to do it.
I know other people, they want very set routines and all that. It works for them. As long as you're clear with you, your spouse, your partner, then it works. It's just getting very clear on those principles, values, and what you want to do. Then things fall into place. You just know from there.
Mm-hmm. I know I give a lot of friends anxiety of how I do things. Like, oh yeah, we'll figure it out. Or, we know we're traveling this state and we'll figure out what we're doing there. Or they're like, you don't have a structure down to the minute what you're doing. Like, no, that's not how we go on things. So
yeah,
I agree with that. One more comment on that too. I know your kids are grown, and I'm sure when they were little babies, they're toddlers, your life looked different then. And I think it is just more seasonal, or, okay, now we can travel and now we can do these things and they're self-sufficient and that works great.
Yeah, no, I think you said seasonality. And if you go out, even like Ray Dalio, there's people just look, here, you can map a life out, right?
Yes.
This isn't a mystery to anybody. It's just go to 18 years old, go to 65 or 70, whatever you think your career span, and you can just see the ebb and flow. So about 15 years ago, my wife and I sat down and said, hey, we know we're rad on kids as teenagers. What's it going to look like over the next period of time? And we adjusted our careers and our intention, our goals to meet that. We didn't make it fine. So we said, hey, it's critically important our kids finish high school in Montana. So I adjusted my career and expectations to make sure that happened. And then once they were done with high school, going to college, we readjusted. So I'm always taken back when people, oh my God, I'm surprised. You're always surprised because you didn't sit down and go, look, kids in Little League is different than high school. College is different than when they're a little bit older. And then when you're parents. So I've just tried to take a very loose but systematic approach that in 5 to 10 year blocks, what my opportunities and obstacles were going to be and match my career to that. So it's hard and easy at the same time, but people a lot smarter than me have done it if you take the time to go out and understand that flow.
And treating the relationship or partnership as, a strategic plan. You have to come up with that. To speak in business terms.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't done that with your spouse or your partner, all I can do is go do it. It's hard. There's tons of models out there. Develop a strategy for your life. Harvard's produced articles. Every executive coach has it, but just do it. See how close you are. There's certain things my wife absolutely demands. One of them's pretty funny. I'll say that in a minute. And there's other things she's like, let's just go. I could call her right now and say, hey, we got to go to the East Coast. She'd be at the airport before I was.
That's awesome.
What does she need? Every Monday, her requirement is I clean toilets.
Trade off.
So once you have the conversation and say, what are the big and little things, you start to understand, and it's important. But again, you just need to have the questions and the conversation. You'll land somewhere very fun.
Absolutely. Oh, such great advice. Now, what are you kind of looking forward to the most, whether it's personally, professionally, over the next year, 6 months to a year?
I think professionally, taking kind of a new role, added some stuff in my division. So it's understanding what we can celebrate in 3 years. So I've spent a lot of time saying, at the end of 2027, what does the celebration look like in December? And the reason I say 3 years is because 5-year plans don't work for me anymore. I've kind of taken business down to 3. So and spend all the time, let's vision out, and then put the tactics in place to get there. So from a process perspective, that's one. Personally, I'm starting to wonder what the next chapter is. So I'm looking out 5 and 10 and going, all right, 10 years from now, what am I doing? And I want to vision that. What's my experience? Who am I talking to? So I'm matching 3 years with a crazy 10 years and starting to put those pieces in place. Where we want to go, who we want to be with. We're having those type of conversations at home. A little bit with work too. What do I need to get done now and put in place that'll look forward? And when you ask, I can tell you some of those big things.
Oh, amazing. Now, have to ask, since you are so well-traveled, what has been your favorite, or maybe top 3 if you can't pick one, places you've been?
Yeah, it's like I said, no favorite. I love Montana in the summertime. No question. That's always good. It's my Paris of all things. And a redneck from Montana, we love Paris.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The people, the fun, all those things, exciting. We like Southern Utah, so that's our next big thing. It's just spending a month in Southern Utah, putting around. So we have 2 or 3 big trips. I'm sure you've heard the term health span versus a lifespan. Why my knees are going to hold. I want to ski a year. I want to raft a couple more rivers, and then we'll slow down over time. So we're trying to get stuff in physically we can know. Later on, then I'll slow down the garden and that kind of crap, but not now.
I feel like we've had this conversation, but not waiting until retirement to do all the things, travel, see the world. And I love the health span because you do not have the 20-year-old knees. And as we've bonded over our own knee and ankle issues together over the years, has that always been something you and your wife and your family have always done? Where was that kind of like, oh, we need to do this. Why are we going to wait till we retire?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's health span to us. We're a little insane on our trips and what we want to do, simply because I do high risk stuff, right? I'm a pilot, military. We ski, we ranch. It's surprisingly get injured if you're not careful. So we stretch and try and do big stuff. And both kids are the same way. So, river trips, skiing where we probably shouldn't be. That stuff is very important to us. My son's a pilot. My dad's a pilot. So we try and push those things we know that have a physical element now. Later on, we can slow up. So I do see a thing where maybe I'm helping somebody do something crazy, but I'm not doing it anymore. But highly encourage all your listeners to really think about that. So they're taking care of themselves, but 70 and 80 is different. It doesn't mean bad. Just plan that way. I'm not going to be running much longer. So I'm changing my hikes. I'm changing what I do. So again, intentional thought, be honest about what the timeline looks like, and you come to the right answer.
Outside of the beautiful nuggets of wisdom you've already provided on this podcast, as we cross the finish line here, what advice do you have for listeners?
I think the biggest one is map stuff out. It sounds simple, but it's the standard formula. What are you good at? What does the world need? And what do you want to experience? So once you kind of get those figured out and you know what you can offer to society and to yourself and you have your boundaries, you're going to get the right thing. I don't think my son will ever leave Montana. He loves it. So he's planning his career that way. My daughter, she'd go anywhere, anytime, eat anything. So she's planning her career to be more adventuresome and out. So once you have those boundaries, you talk to your partner, your spouse, things begin to fall into place. So just spend the time knowing who you are, what you can do and what you can offer, and you're going to be wildly successful.
Todd, you're one of my favorite people. I enjoy every conversation we have. So thank you for sharing beautiful words of wisdom to my listeners. I really appreciate it. But for those of you listening, if you want to follow Todd, connect with him, head to the show notes and tune in again next week for another episode of That's Business.
If you're looking for a career change and you're not sure where to start, the Resume Rescue can help. Sure, there's no such thing as the perfect fit for everyone, but here at the Resume Rescue, we're on a mission to find the perfect solution for you. Whether it's changing careers, updating a resume, learning LinkedIn, or practicing interviewing, we have you covered. Find us online at theresumerescue.com and find all of our contact info in our show notes.